There's a quiet kind of wisdom that settles in after 70. It's the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. You stop explaining yourself to everyone and start holding certain things closer to your heart, not out of secrecy, but out of peace. Sometimes the happiest people in later life are the ones who've learned which truths are worth sharing and which are worth keeping safe. In this video, I want to gently talk with you about 5 things. 5 personal truths that many older adults quietly choose not to share with their families, and not because they're hiding or feel ashamed. No, it's because they've come to understand that not everything needs to be said aloud to be real, that some thoughts, regrets, feelings, and wishes are more powerful when kept in the sacred space of your own heart. If you're over 70, you might already know what I mean. There are moments in life where telling the whole story doesn't bring peace, it brings noise. And sometimes holding your own silence is the strongest kind of freedom. These are the things we learn with age, the things that help us stay content, centered, and quietly happy, even when others don't fully understand. So let's talk about them with care, with warmth, and with the respect every soul deserves after a life fully lived. Secret number 1, your personal regrets. There isn't a person alive who doesn't carry some regrets. Things they wish they had done or hadn't. Words they said too quickly. Moments they let slip away. And by the time we reach our 70s or 80s, those memories can feel like heavy stones in our pockets. Always there, always shifting. But here's the truth. Not every regret needs to be unpacked in front of your family. You might feel the urge to share an old mistake or a deep sorrow with your children or grandchildren. Maybe it's something from decades ago, a decision that shaped your life, or someone you hurt and never made peace with. But before you speak it aloud, pause. Ask yourself, will sharing this bring healing, or will it only pass the weight onto someone else? There's a quiet kind of strength in choosing what to keep to yourself. Not to hide, but to protect. You've already lived with that story. You've carried it, learned from it, maybe even forgiven yourself. Your family doesn't always need the details to love you. They already do. Let me tell you about a woman named Jean. She was 82 when she told me something that stuck with me ever since. Years ago, in her 30s, she walked away from a man she truly loved because her parents didn't approve. She married someone else, raised a family, lived a good life, but that one decision she never forgot. Her daughter once asked her if she ever had a great love. Jean smiled and simply said, "Yes, but I've already made peace with that story." She never told her daughter the full truth. And she didn't need to. That piece of her past was hers alone. So if you're sitting with a regret from long ago, remember this: healing doesn't always need an audience. Some things can be resolved in the quiet of your own heart. You don't owe every part of your past to anyone else, not even the people you love the most. What matters now is how you live today, and how you carry yourself, with grace, with wisdom, and with a gentle peace that comes from letting go. Secret number 2, the full picture of your finances. Money has always been a sensitive topic, hasn't it? We're raised to work hard, save what we can, and help our families when they need us. But after 70, many older adults discover something powerful. You don't need to share every detail of your finances with your children or anyone else to be generous, kind, or wise. There's a difference between being honest and being entirely open. Maybe you've tucked away a little savings for emergencies. Or maybe you've made decisions in the past that didn't turn out well. Investments, loans, debts. Maybe your will is simple, but your financial history is not. And that's okay. You've earned the right to keep some things private. Let me tell you about Harold. He was 77 when he decided to open a small savings account that none of his family knew about. Just a few $100s each month. It's not for them, he told me. It's for me. To know I have a cushion, in case I want to travel, buy a gift, or just have something set aside if I ever need to say no without guilt. Harold's children weren't greedy, but they often asked if he needed help with money. They meant well, but their questions made him feel small, less capable. So he stopped explaining and quietly started saving. That little account gave him a sense of freedom and dignity, that no shared spreadsheet could offer. The truth is, financial transparency can sometimes invite opinions, pressure, or even unspoken expectations. You might love your family dearly, but that doesn't mean you need to open your entire checkbook to them, especially if it means losing your sense of independence. So here's the gentle reminder. Your money is part of your story. You've worked for it, worried over it, and learned from it. And if keeping some of that private brings you peace, that is reason enough. After all, the gift you give your family isn't just financial support. It's your presence, your stories, your love, and those things don't come with a price tag. Secret number 3, your true feelings about certain family members. Let's be honest, family can be complicated. Over the years, we gather all sorts of feelings: love, pride, frustration, even hurt. And as we get older, those feelings don't just disappear. They settle in us like old photographs. Some clear, some faded, some we'd rather not look at too closely. But here's the quiet truth. You don't need to share every thought or feeling you have about your relatives, especially if doing so might stir up conflict, confusion, or pain. Not every truth brings healing. Sometimes it just brings noise. I once knew a woman named Della. She was 84 and had 3 grown children, 2 she felt deeply connected to, and 1 she had always struggled to understand. That son had made choices that hurt her, and though time had softened the sting, the wound never fully closed. Her daughter once asked, "Mom, do you love us all the same?" And Della smiled gently and said, "I love you all in the ways I know how." She didn't explain the ache or the distance or the nights she cried for things she couldn't change. She chose grace instead of grief. You see, wisdom sometimes means keeping certain feelings in your heart, not because they're untrue, but because sharing them might do more harm than good. You can forgive quietly. You can set boundaries silently. You can wish someone well without inviting their energy into your life again. And you're not being dishonest. You're being careful with your peace. After 70, many of us choose kindness over conflict. We learn that love doesn't always mean closeness, and being family doesn't always mean being understood. So if there's someone in your life you've learned to love from a distance, or someone who brings up feelings you'd rather keep to yourself, that's okay. You're not obligated to explain your emotions, especially if doing so would disturb the calm you've worked so hard to build. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say less and love more. Secret number 4, your bucket list, dreams that still linger. There's a special kind of dream that lives quietly inside us, the one we've carried for years, maybe since childhood. A place we always wanted to visit, a skill we hoped to learn, a letter we meant to write. After 70, some of those dreams still live within us, even if we never speak them aloud. And that's the thing. You don't have to share every dream to make it real in your heart. Many older adults carry quiet dreams they've never told anyone about, not because they're ashamed, but because those dreams became companions, not goals, gentle reminders of who they once were or who they still wish to be. Let me tell you about Ernest. He was 79 when he shared something beautiful. He had always dreamed of seeing the northern lights, but life moved fast. Children, career, then caring for his wife during her long illness. Time passed and the dream faded into the background. One evening, his granddaughter asked if he had a bucket list. He chuckled and said, "I think I emptied that bucket a while ago." But later, in a quiet moment, he told me, "I still picture myself standing there under that sky. Even if I never get there, it still makes me feel alive." That's the beauty of unspoken dreams. They don't always need to come true. Sometimes just having them is enough. You don't have to explain your wishes to anyone. Not every dream needs to be booked, paid for, or crossed off a list. Some are meant to stay tucked away, like a secret garden you visit in your mind whenever you need light. And if you do decide to chase one, big or small, do it for yourself. Not for applause, not for approval, just because it brings you joy. So keep that dream, whatever it is. Let it live quietly with you, because even at 70, 80, or beyond, dreaming is still a form of living. Secret number 5, how lonely or content you really feel. One of the most tender truths in later life is how we feel. Deep down, when the house gets quiet, when the phone stops ringing, when the days stretch out a little longer than they used to. Loneliness is real. So is contentment, and sometimes they live side by side. But here's something you might not hear often. You don't have to explain those feelings to your family, not if it doesn't help you, not if it adds worry or misunderstanding. Because emotional honesty is sacred, but so is emotional privacy. Let me tell you about Marion. She was 81, lived alone, and had 3 children who checked in now and then. She wasn't unhappy, but she often felt an emptiness after the holidays, when the laughter faded and the house returned to stillness. But she never shared that part. Not because she was hiding, but because she didn't want her children to feel guilty. Instead, she painted. Every evening she sat by her window and let her feelings flow onto the canvas. "It's how I talk to myself," she said. "And sometimes, it's how I talk to God." Her children thought she was doing just fine, and in many ways she was, because she had found a way to carry her emotions without needing to explain them. As we get older, our inner world becomes richer, but harder to describe. You might feel more peaceful than you've ever felt, or more isolated than you'd ever imagined. And you're allowed to keep that to yourself. You're not being dishonest by saying I'm okay, even if you're a little lonely. And you're not obligated to pretend you're struggling just because someone else assumes you must be. What matters most is that you know how you feel, that you make room for it, whether through journaling, prayer, painting, walking, or sitting quietly with your thoughts. You are not less for being private. You are simply wise enough to know that not every feeling needs a witness. After 70, something shifts deep inside. You start to realize that life is not just about what you share, but also what you protect. Not every story, every regret, every wish, or every feeling needs to be spoken aloud to be real. Some things are meant to be held close, to be yours alone. There is peace in privacy, grace in restraint, wisdom in choosing what to say, and what to let remain sacred. These 5 secrets aren't about hiding from your family. They're about honoring yourself. They're about making space for quiet joy, soft healing, and the kind of calm that comes from knowing you don't owe every piece of yourself to anyone else. You've lived a long, rich life, and every part of that journey, spoken or unspoken, is part of what makes you beautifully, deeply whole. If any part of this message touched your heart, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. You don't have to share your secret, but maybe share a moment or a quiet thought. You're not alone in this space. And if you enjoy these gentle reflections, stories, and reminders of your worth, feel free to subscribe. Elderly Roots is here for you whenever you need a kind voice and a peaceful pause in your day. Until next time, take care of your spirit. It's one of the most sacred things you'll ever own.